Okay. So, making sure to keep my thoughts on my feet rather than my camera. Just let the camera do its thing. A few days ago, I rode my bicycle out of Melaka, Malaysia, about 9 kilometers to get to the submarine museum. And after I toured the submarine, I went for a bike ride around this massive 200-acre artificial peninsula. It's part of the giant land reclamation projects that you see all up and down the coast near Melaka. And while I was out here, I spotted this island that you see right behind me. It's an island, you can see it on Google Maps, filled with ships, all kinds of like barges and boats and things, and it just looks fascinating from Google Maps. And when I was trying to get to this island, I cycled in on a road and I ran into a security gate at the beginning of the peninsula, and they said, no, you can't go down this road. But then I continued cycling, and there's this coastline here where there's all these fishermen. It's a very popular fishing area, and it turns out, as I continued along the coast chatting with the fishermen, I came across this bridge that goes out to the island, and you can see some of the boats that I found so fascinating. So what I'm hoping to do today is walk across this bridge and then take a closer look at this island. I don't know whether they're going to let me go out there. I don't see any security gates, any signs, anything like that. But when I came up here and I locked my bicycle here up on this tree, right here, I see a shack, and then there's a vehicle sitting there. So it's a possibility that that's as far as I'm going to get. Maybe I'll walk to here and then someone will stop me and say, no, you can't go out to the island. But that's what I'm hoping to do right now, walk across that bridge and find out what is going on out there with all these boats, the ghost ships of Malaysia. Do a little bit of exploration out there, get a closer look. This might be why the vehicle is waiting here. Could be to pick up these men. I saw them walking around on top of that the big ship there. They might be dropped off here, get in that van that's sitting there, and then drive away. And if that's the case, then yeah, I can try to walk out to the island, see what happens. That's an interesting little boat. The first time I tried walking towards the bridge, I decided not to continue, because as soon as I got near there, I spotted a woman in a very official-looking uniform walking around with her phone, taking video or taking photos. So I thought, she must be doing a security sweep, like a security check or something. So I just came over here to sit down for a while and just sort of wait, see what happens. Just enjoy the scenery. I mean, check this out. So beautiful here. All those boats going through the Melaka Strait. Gorgeous day, sunshine and the clouds. And the men that just got off this small transport, I think they were inspecting that big boat there right in front of me. I saw them walking around on the deck and up on the upper decks. But yeah, those men got into that van and they drove away. So it's time. Time to go for a walk across this bridge and see if I can get a closer look at some of these boats. So here we go. The coast is clear. except for the crows. The whole time that I've been sitting here, all these crows, they just don't like me being near them. So they kept getting closer and closer to me on the branches, cawing and cawing, kind of, yeah, like telling me to go away. Let's go down to the beach here just for a second. Yeah, while I've been sitting here, I've seen a number of pickup trucks go across the bridge. So a lot of crews go back and forth from the peninsula over to the island. As far as I know, the island is called Pulau Klebang Selatan, which I think means South Klebang Island. But that's all I know about it. I've only heard rumors and read rumors online. Some people said the ships here it's basically a scrapyard, and that they were tearing ships apart for scrap metal. But it doesn't look that way to me. These boats don't look like they're being cut to pieces and being recycled. You'd hear a lot of noise if that were the case, like the shipyards in Bangladesh. A lot of hammering, a lot of industrial sound. I don't hear that. Other people said that this was a place where they stored boats that were seized in the Malacca Strait because they were illegal or pirates or didn't have the proper documents or whatever. And then probably the most logical explanation is that they are all just connected with the land reclamation projects ongoing, so that these are all barges that are used for land reclamation all up and down the coast of Malacca. So there's the bridge that I came across. So far, yeah, there's no warning signs or security on either side telling me I'm not supposed to be here. So I'll just walk around a little bit, get close to these ships. Oceanline 237. So it seems to be a pretty common story all up and down the coast here, that back in the early 2000s and the 2010s, there was a lot of plans for developing this whole coastline, like big plans. And so they started doing land reclamation, and then they completed the land reclamation. Let's walk up onto this barge. Look at this. That's amazing. And then at some point, the funding dried up for the actual development. So they have the land, like this area over here, I think it was supposed to be what they call the Eco Marine Park. And as I said, it was like 200 acres of reclaimed land. It's this huge peninsula, the Eco Marine Park, and it was meant to be, yeah, they're gonna have like a 10,000 seat luxury convention center. They pulled the submarine, like the submarine museum is located here. They did bring that out, and then they built this luxury Birkin hotel, and that was supposed to like draw people over, and then they were going to have like 1,100 floating villas, all kinds of things. And then for whatever reason, the whole project just got abandoned, and it just sits there empty. The only completed projects are what I already mentioned, the 5-star Birkin Hotel there and the submarine museum, and that's it. And that happened all up and down the coast of Melaka. Yeah, isn't that amazing? This huge barge. And I think that ship there is also kind of a reclamation, like a barge for pulling up sand, dredging, basically. I think that's what it's designed to do. Wow. I mean, these definitely look abandoned, right? They're not being cut up and recycled, but I doubt that these two barges that I'm on could be operational ever again. A ship like that, I don't know. Looks pretty bad. The Tai Long 6 looks pretty bad because of all the rust, and it's beached, basically. It's not floating. But why, I don't know anything about ships. Maybe you can slap on a new coat of paint, put some oil in the engine, and put it back to work. I don't know. Look at that over there, the Oceanline 261. Just endless ships out here. It's kind of what I really like about these places, sort of the scale. Like, you see these sorts of things from a distance most of your life, right? You see them floating out on the Melaka Strait. They're always far away. And it's only when you get up close to them like this that you get a sense of the scale, just how big they are and how dramatic they look when they're towering above you like this. So there's a barge there, the Oceanline 237. This is the Oceanline 236. Some amazing scenery, just like anchors like this, and then these huge ropes. It's very cool. Looks like for the pickup trucks going in and out, they must be working on something in that direction, because that's the main road right here. Comes off the bridge, and you can see it's well worn. So most of the people will be going in and out along that road. So I'm going to stay away from the road for now and just go on foot more in this direction. Look at the size of that. Isn't that amazing? That's what I mean about the scale of these things. Yeah, I was able to climb up onto that neighboring barge, but there's no way to get up there. That's probably why those men came from that boat on a little transport ship. They probably were able to climb aboard from the other end of the ship. You're not climbing up there. Look at the size of that anchor. My gosh, the amount of steel that goes into these things. And it sounds like a very naive thing to say, because I understand the physics. I know how ships float. So I shouldn't be amazed that a ship this huge and heavy can float on the water. But still, at a common sense level, you think about the massive steel sitting in front of us right here, and then this thing floats on the water. It's counterintuitive, isn't it? It really is. I have no idea what this gizmo is. Must be part of a dredging mechanism, sucking up dirt and sand and gravel from the ocean floor. A giant pipeline, basically. Can you imagine the size of the engines they must have to have like a suction that could drive something like this? At least I'm assuming that's what it's doing, right? Looks like a giant hose, a metal hose. Oceanline 262, 282, so these are all connected. And over here, Oceanline 261. So far, so good. Nobody yelling at me, telling me to go away. So I'm free to wander around for a few more minutes anyway. See those ships behind me. that I was just checking out. Yeah, it really is like a ship graveyard. Like this one, beached. All of these huge parts torn away from ships over the decades, I guess. That must be part of an engine. Giant flywheel. Yeah, that one also has a big hose attached to it, hanging from the side. Another suction barge. Yeah, I guess if they're repairing ships, they can use a lot of these for spare parts if they need them. They're probably, yeah, spare part ships. You can see all the trucks over there that are abandoned, all lined up. Yeah, even this one, from a distance, it didn't look that big. Oceanline 261. But now when you get this close to it, massive. And that's a small ship compared to those big ones out there, the huge liners out on the Melaka Strait. This one right here is just a toy, but standing below it, it looks massive. Coming around the other side of Oceanline 261. Yeah, you can see it's beached. It's not floating either. Yeah, this island, I believe, is artificial as well. There wasn't an island here before. They built it as part of the land reclamation. And the eco-marine project that I mentioned, a 200-acre peninsula right over here. They finished reclaiming the land and it's ready to go. But then, for whatever reason, the funding for the whole project just didn't work out. And it's connected to the place I visited earlier, the what I call the Ghost Island, Melaka Island. That is also where they were going to have the gateway, I think Melaka Gateway. They had huge plans for that as well, with accommodation, fancy resorts, and huge docks for cruise ships, things like that, and turn it into a major tourism center. But the funding for that dried up as well. When I heard about all this land reclamation and all these huge projects from a distance, and just sort of vague stories about them, I assumed they all fell apart because of the pandemic. So I thought it was when the pandemic hit and tourism dropped to zero that all these projects fell apart. But I think the problems predated the pandemic. Like, this was all happening in the 2010s, before COVID. So something else was going on, just way too much optimism, I guess, about how much money could flow in once they, kind of a, if we build it, they will come kind of attitude, field of dreams. And then they, at some point, I guess, yeah, they were building it and they realized, or the investors realized that, I don't think anybody's going to come. And then everything just ground to a halt. Fascinating story. And in another video, a previous video here in Melaka, I rode my bicycle to the Encore building, a very large, very high-tech, very modern performing arts center. So I went there basically to see the building, but as I was riding my bike out there, I noticed that I seemed to be in kind of a wilderness area, like surrounded by open, wild land. And I started to wonder, like, why is this incredible art center, performing arts center, out here in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by essentially nothing? And then in my reading, I found out that, it was supposed to be the centerpiece of another major land reclamation project, and a huge complex was meant to be built up all around Encore. And that may still happen in the future, but as far as I know, the development has basically halted there as well. So Encore is sitting out there, all by itself. So, Here I am right below another one of these massive ships. Yeah, and the road that seems to get a lot of traffic is right here as well. So I'm a bit hesitant to go around the corner because yeah, I saw pickup trucks. Oh yeah, so that's where the ship, the one that's still seaworthy, is out there. So I guess people are driving back and forth in their trucks. But yeah, look at this. When have you ever seen the bulbous end of a ship like this, where there's a giant hole in it? I've certainly never seen that. I've seen a lot of this in the water, you know. You can see these ships with these big noses on them cutting through the water, but I've never been this close to one. Certainly never one as rusted out as this. Crazy. And I guess this is the heart and soul of everything that's going on around me. Sand. All right, they're sucking up sand in one area, putting it on barges, cleaning it, doing whatever they do to it, and then dumping it and creating new land. I don't know anything about the engineering behind it, the science, how long it takes for the sand to settle, whether sand is enough or do they have to mix in rock and gravel and other things to make solid ground. I mean, you don't want to have unsteady ground and then build a 30 or 40 story 5-star hotel on ground that's going to shift underneath the foundations. So when you're building land, you better know what you're doing, I guess. But I think sand is the main ingredient when it comes to land reclamation. And then how long do you have to wait for it to settle? How do you pack it all down? Yeah, this island of misfit ships is more than living up to my expectations from Google Maps satellite view. It looked pretty impressive, but here on the ground, it looks way more impressive. I'm hearing some deep thundering noises. I hope that's something construction and not thunderstorms. Yeah, there seem to be a lot more ships, a lot more of these big ships beached here than I saw on Google Maps satellite view. A chain holding this barge in place. I had to climb up this relatively steep wall of sand, and then as I was trying to get up here, I heard this very spooky creaking noise. At times it sounded like music playing, or children, or dogs whining. But it turned out it was just this. You can hear the creaking of the metal. This gangplank moving a little bit as the barge moves on the water a little bit. Yeah, it's a very spooky sound. And I've seen a lot of dog prints, paw prints around, but I haven't seen any dogs yet. And there are the crows of Melaka. They're following me around. What do they call it? It's not a flock, is it? Everybody always makes the joke that a group of crows is called a murder, right? A murder of crows. So I have a murder group tracking me as I go through this island of misfit ships. I guess someone who was incredibly determined could climb up one of these ropes and get onto this ship, but I think I'll draw the line there. I'm content with where I am. I don't need to challenge myself to climb up one of these ropes. I'll stay on my feet, thank you very much. I can just look at this ship from the side. Yeah, this ship has seen some things. Pieces of metal here just ripped apart. And here's the very end of it by the water. Yeah, you get a lot of metal sound in the wind. Makes it kind of spooky. Oh, look at that. A ladder. So yeah, they put a ladder here to climb up onto that boat. But again, I think I'll just stick to the ground here on the barge. Wow, that is a sight. I guess this one or something sank. Something is underwater here. But look at this size of this dredging pipe. Think of that as a straw sucking up your cup of McDonald's Coke. How much force would you need to pull on this pipe to be able to suck up sand from the floor of the ocean? That would be incredible. Yeah, I love this view. This really gives you a sense of what this place is all about. So what I'm seeing more and more is giving me the idea that these ships really have been abandoned. Like I said, before I came out here, I did have some idea that maybe they were just storing the ships here, waiting for the funding to come back for the land reclamation, and then they would put these ships back to work. But nah, these ships, whatever this is, it's never working again. That's pretty clear. But they also don't seem to be recycling anything. Hey there, Poochie. There's a dog. So yeah, there's probably at least a small pack of dogs living out here. Seems friendly, actually. A little bit nervous to see me, but doesn't look aggressive. Probably hoping I have food. I think I heard a little bit of a whine or a whimper. Hey there, buddy. You must be hungry, huh? Hungry and thirsty? Always makes me feel bad. Always makes me wish I had cans and cans of dog food in my backpack and a water bowl for them. Give them at least one day and one night with a full belly. That would be a nice treat for them, I think. Man, what a sight. I just cannot get over this. There they are. The three of them all lined up. One of the most amazing YouTube video shorts that I see from time to time are the shorts you see on ships like this with these huge anchors, and they have them suspended like that and waiting to drop them, and then somebody on deck, right, with a sledgehammer hits a lever that cuts it loose, and then the chain goes down, or the anchor goes down, and then you see the chain, that massive chain on the deck, like whipping like a snake, you know, and it looks like something that could tear a human being into a million pieces if he got caught in that chain. Yeah, you just sort of get a real sense of the weight of the anchor and the power of steel compared to fragile human bodies. But yeah, those video shorts where you see them toss an anchor and you see the chain whipping along on the deck is really something. Yeah, crows are still following me. Whoa, what is this? A barge, and I wonder what it was designed to do. I have no idea. Even have like a crow's nest up there, so whoever sits up there climbs up that ladder and controls this whole mechanism. Something to do with dredging, sand, water. A crazy looking set of gear there. Ooh. Looks like I can go out to Oceanline 237. I think that might be the number. Yeah, this is a makeshift ladder. Feels pretty solid. I don't feel any movement. So as long as I don't get distracted by my GoPro, I think I can walk out here. No problem at all. Yeah, there's some more ships over there, orange ones. Look at the crows, they're definitely following me. They're plotting my murder, that murder of crows. Wow, what a scene. This one is never going to be functional again either. Look at that, it sank. You don't need to see me in the middle of all this amazing industrial scenery, but thought I'd flip the GoPro around just for a minute. And yeah, you can get me for a sense of scale of where I am. I mean, look at the size of this tire, whatever it belonged to. And then you can see that sunken boat behind me. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't really know about the deck. I mean, I'm just assuming I don't have to worry about the deck. That even though it's really rusted, it's not like I'm going to step on a weak spot and fall through. At least I hope that's the case. Wow. Again, this piping just blows my mind. I wonder how loud it is on one of these barges when it was operating, when it was actually dredging. How loud are the engines that they need to suck up the ocean floor? What a crazy view. Somebody was doing some fishing from up here, laid out their fishing net. But judging by the condition of it, that was a long time ago as well. And you can see it behind me. Put me into context here. Yeah, with this setting. Wow. Definitely feels ominous. with that thunder. Yeah, I didn't come out here prepared for rain at all. I didn't anticipate having to deal with any rain, so not even an umbrella. So I'll have to head for cover if the rain hits. What a scene. This little boat seems to be seaworthy, the Oceanline 82, Ulan Batar. Yeah, it's floating, and there seems to be functional. Looks like it could go out to sea if it needed to. Piles of oil filters, scrap metal. Look at the crows, man. I wonder what prompts this behavior. Like, do they see me as an intruder and they're driving me away? Or are they just curious, like cows, and they just want to see what I'm doing? But yeah, life preserver. But they're definitely following me. So now I have my Insta360 X3 camera recording video, and I have audio being recorded by my GoPro. I have to do that just because of the way this camera operates. And my idea is to now walk back to my bicycle, but record the whole trip in this 360 camera mode, and then see what I can do with that video. It's going to work out well, at least here at the start, because I've got to navigate this narrow, ooh, look at that rope. It's like brand new white looking rope. Well, it's probably not new, but looks very clean. But yeah, I have to navigate this narrow gangplank, the bridge. And from a 360 camera, you'll get, I guess, a better sense of what it's like. Okay. So, making sure to keep my thoughts on my feet rather than my camera. Just let the camera do its thing. That's the advantage of a 360 camera. You don't have to worry about where it's pointing, really. You just have to hold it and let it record. And then make it the rest of the way down this narrow gangplank. I guess from there you can see the ship and this narrow gangplank behind me. All right. Extremely cool little adventure here on Planet Doug. And this is this crazy rig, a dozen or maybe dozens of hoses and pumps. Yeah, I suppose what they could be doing here is pumping out a slurry, like pumping out a mixture of sand and water, like a fine spray. That's probably what's going on here, but again, no. As I said a couple of times already, when it comes to the engineering of land reclamation, no clue. I don't know how it works. It's also the island of misfit water bottles and other plastic garbage, of course. Stretches out all the way along the beach. I can't even guess how much that anchor weighs. No clue. Looks almost like a homemade anchor, like somebody welded that in their garage or something. And I already walked up onto this barge, but 360 camera, second visit. I always like to go places 2 times. I see things that I missed on the first walk through. And with the GoPro, I was mainly filming away from myself at the ships and the barges. With the 360 camera, I can do both. I can aim the camera at the barges and the ships, and I can also aim it back at me and get a bit of contrast. You can actually see where I am, where I'm walking. Yeah. Like, this is something I didn't notice when I walked through the first time, because I knew this barge had sunk, but I didn't see that opening down into the interior. And you can see that inside it's completely flooded. This is where I saw the dog. Wow, what a sight down there. What rust can do to steel is pretty incredible. Just turns it into tissue paper. Which again makes me think about the deck below me. I'm assuming it can support my weight, you know, but I don't know. I am stepping a little bit carefully, just sort of feeling for any weak spots. Yeah, on a really windy day with high seas, heavy waves, this would be quite an interesting experience. I think you'd see a lot more motion, ships being torn apart. And with the 360 camera, I can lower it inside. I have no idea what's down there, whether you can see anything at all. But at the very least, you can look up to the top and perhaps see me staring down at you. Coming up. Yeah, there's another hole in the ship right here beside it. And this area down here is being torn apart even with these small waves. In heavy seas, yeah, it'll all be torn apart. And this is the gangplank that was making all the creaking sounds before. Very spooky sounds, but it's not making any noise this time. I always like backtracking. You get a second look at things you may not have seen the first time around. So this is one of the more interesting ships that I saw. It has a crane built right on top of the deck. Very rusty, very atmospheric. I've put my camera inside one of these barnacle-filled holes in the side of the ship. Yeah, what a scene. This is interesting. I didn't notice this my first time through either. It's just a small motorboat sitting right here. Yeah, and I don't think it's heading out to sea anytime soon either. Very, very cool to get the contrast with this huge ship. And I must admit that every time I see one of these propellers, I end up thinking, whoa, look how huge that propeller is. I mean, it looks big, but at the same time, it doesn't look big enough all by itself to drive this huge ship, right? So it looks big to me in human terms. It's at least, it's 6 feet across at least, and yet it still doesn't seem like it would have enough power to drive this boat, but well, it does. And this rudder is the one thing that makes sure the ship goes in the direction that you want it to go. That's pretty crazy too. Just that flat piece of steel. I really like the visual of this boat because it's so beached. It's been pulled up so far onto the shore. You can actually get right underneath the curve of the hull. So you really get a sense of the scale and the shape of it. Oceanline 261. And I guess out of most of the boats here, these three are the ones I'd have the most hope that they would eventually, I don't know, go out to sea someday. Here's another style of anchor. Yeah, just a giant hook, a hook anchor. And that mechanism that I mentioned that was lying on the ground, that long tube, curved tube, here it is here on this boat. Oh, look at that. Okay, it's not physically attached. They actually hold it alongside the boat with cables. Look at that. and then they can raise it up and down. Oh, I wonder if it goes all the way down to the bottom, like the whole bottom swings free and then points straight down. Yeah, that's how that works. Okay, now it's all making sense to me. Yeah, I couldn't figure out what this thing was for, but I'll bet it is got a hinge on it, like a hinge at the far end, and then the whole thing hinges downward. Ah, I think so. There's the massive anchor for this beast. Wow, 4 anchors, right? Look at that. 2 on one side, 1 hanging, 1 pulled against the ship. And then there's 1 hanging on the other side, but the one that was supposed to be coming out of this hole, it's just not there. But yeah, 4 anchors on this side in total. Man. Yeah, you don't really want to be underneath that at any time. Can you imagine if that thing ever came free and came crashing down? And just before I say goodbye, I'm going to climb back up onto this barge again. Yeah, from here I just want to get a view as close to this other ship as I can. This blue and green one. I'm actually on the other side of a wall. You can see the wall. So I'm on the top deck of the barge. So I can't see that boat, but I can raise my 360 above the wall. I kind of wanted to do it this way because I know that there are some men on board that ship, and maybe if they saw me out here, they'd feel like it's their responsibility to come talk to me and tell me I shouldn't be here. But they can't see me, and I still get a nice view of that ship with my 360 camera raised up above the wall. So, just about to say goodbye to the island of misfit ships. Just have to walk down from this barge and then across that bridge over there. Yeah, I can still see my bicycle. It's in the trees over there. Still there. And I have a bottle of water waiting for me. So, yeah, with that, I think this is the perfect place to end the video. As I said, my bicycle is just 50 yards ahead of me. Gonna stop off for a delicious coconut shake. And that'll be the end of this morning's small adventures. Yeah, here comes a truck crossing the bridge. Hello. Oh, cannot go through here? Oh, okay.
They cannot entry.
Oh, not through here? Okay, thank you. So there you go. I think that was the same man that I saw at the security gate at the far end of the road. And then when I rode my bicycle in from that side, he said, no, you can't go this way. So, you know, I didn't go that way. I just came in from a different direction. But it's pretty ironic that he saw me on the bridge, so he thought I was just on my way in. So he was telling me, no, you can't go in there. And but he doesn't realize that I've already been in, and it was perfect timing because that was just when I was on my way out. So yeah, I was going to end the video on the bridge, but just had that little chat with the security guard. And here I am, reunited with my bicycle, so that works out just as well. Oh, yeah, what a view from here. The sun is just perfect, lighting up the tree, the bicycle, the Melaka Strait with all the ships out there, and then finally this ship graveyard on the edges of Melaka. It would be amazing to come back here, say in 20 years and see what happened to this place, because as I said, this area behind me, this was supposed to be marine eco, like a huge tourism complex filled with convention centers, 1,100 floating villas on the water. That was all supposed to be here, but it never got built. But maybe in 20 years it will be built right beside the ship graveyard over there. And then maybe all the ships will be moved out, and there's going to be condominiums out there, luxury hotels. But for now, yeah, that's what's out there. The ship graveyard of Melaka. So that's it, shutting down. I hope you enjoyed that tour as much as I did. I hope I captured it well enough on video. I hope I did. And if you've watched this video all the way to the end, all the way to this point, well, that means you're a member of the Planet Doug Crunch Club. Those who watch the video all the way to the end grants you automatic membership. Put CC in the comments to let me know you watch the video all the way to the end. And yeah, shout out to everyone out there supporting the Planet Doug experience, the Planet Doug adventure through Touch and Go, through PayPal, through joining the Planet Doug Patreon. It all helps very, very much. Without that, these videos wouldn't be possible. Days like this definitely would not be possible. So thank you very much. And my coffee posse out there on the Buy Me a Coffee Planet Doug platform, appreciate it very much. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. See you next time.